Hi everyone, happy Sunday and welcome back to Clues by Sam. We have another hard one today. I hope it's harder than yesterday's, but not as hard that I can't solve it because we know how it goes. But if you're new here and you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle that grows in difficulty along the week. So today on Sunday, we have the hardest one of the week. And there are 20 people on a board. You gotta figure out who is a criminal and who is an innocent, and they might give you clues to help you with the process. I'm gonna be explaining my logic as I solve, so if you need any help, then hopefully I can help you, and hopefully we get a perfect solve today. The link to play is in the description, and I'm gonna start mine right now. So we start with Barb telling us that only one of the two criminals neighboring Deborah is in row 1. Deborah is right here, and she has 3 people total neighboring her. 2 of those are criminals, and only one of those 2 criminals is in row 1. Deborah only has 1 person neighboring her in row 1, Celia, so Celia has to be a criminal in this case. And we know that Hannah and Ina, the third person to neighbor Deborah, they are gonna be opposite, so we tag them with the same color to indicate that they are opposites. And when we make one of the yellows something, we make the other yellow the exact opposite. And because we have tagged them, we don't get any more information from Barb's school, so we can click on it to dismiss it. Look at Celia's school now. Emma is one of Frida's 5 innocent neighbors, so Emma is an innocent. Frida has 8 neighbors, and 5 of those are going to be innocent, so that means 3 criminals. We don't know about the other 2 criminals though, because Celia is one of them. So we leave Celia's school there and look at Emma's. There are exactly 2 criminals above Olga. There's 2 people above Olga, so both of those have to be criminals. And one of them is Ina, who is opposite with Hannah, so we make Hannah an innocent already. And we don't need Emma's school anymore. There's no more information for us to get there. Now, 3 new clues. So Deborah's says that only 1 criminal in column C has an innocent directly to the left of them. So in column C, we have 1 criminal, Celia, who has an innocent to her left already, Barb. That means that if we get any other criminals in column C, then the people to their left are automatically innocents. But that's all. We keep that there. Ina's clue says there's an odd number of criminals in column D. So we need at least a third one, but we don't know. It could be that all of the people in column D are criminals, so we don't know that yet. Hannah's clue now says that an odd number of Kita's neighbors in row 3 are innocent. So Kita has 3 people neighboring her in row 3, and an odd number of those 3 people are going to be innocents. What if we have... we can't have only one of them. Oh, we need to have only one of them. Let me think about it. An odd number of 3 people are innocents, which means either one or all 3 people are innocents. If we make all 3 of them innocents, Frida doesn't have enough neighbors who could be criminals, because there's only Celia and Anna who could be criminals, and she needs 3 criminals, we know from Celia's clue. So we actually need the odd number in these 3 people here being innocent to be 1 innocent only, which then in turn gives us 2 criminals. We know Frida's last 2 criminal neighbors are here in row 3, and that makes Anna not a criminal then. So we get a new person in a completely different row than the one the clue was talking about, but we also get information about that row. We just don't know who exactly the 2 criminals and the 1 innocent are here, so we leave that clue there. But Anna gives us a new one. Only 1 cook has exactly 6 criminal neighbors. So we have 3 cooks, 2 of which don't even have 6 neighbors who could be criminals, because Vera only has 5 neighbors total and Uma only has 3 neighbors total. So we are sure that Kita has to be the person who is a cook that has 6 criminal neighbors. And she also is the one that Celia is talking about. Oh, that Hannah is talking about. Where we know now that she has 2 criminals neighboring her in row 3 and 1 innocent. If Kita has 8 neighbors total, and we know that she has 6 criminal neighbors, I was thinking about innocents. Good thing that I caught myself there. So we know now that Kita has to have 4 more criminals neighboring her here. And then we gotta combine that with the thing about people in column C. Because we know that if we have a criminal here in column C, they couldn't have an innocent to their left. Because we already have a criminal in column C who has an innocent to their left, and that's Celia. So if Marianne is a criminal, she couldn't have Laura be an innocent, so Laura would have to be a criminal. Katie could be an innocent. But if Laura is an innocent, Marianne would have to be an innocent as well. Which can't happen, we know there's only 1 innocent here. But we could have Marianne be an innocent and Laura a criminal because, of course, that doesn't have anything to do with criminals in column C. So what we know is that in any case, Laura couldn't ever be an innocent, so she has to be a criminal. And that makes Katie and Marianne opposites now because we still don't know who the innocent is. But Laura gives us a new clue, and odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor Vera. So Vera has 3 people neighboring her on the edges. We couldn't have all 3 of them, even though that's an odd number. We couldn't have all 3 of them be innocents because that would break Kita's total, because Kita has 8 criminal neighbors and that gives her a total 2 innocents. So she shares 4 people with Vera and 3 of those are on the edge. We know then that only one of those has to be an innocent. And that means that the second and last innocent neighbor for Kita is here shared with Vera. Why? Because the first one is the one here in row 3. So both Rose and Vera couldn't be innocents. Hope that was well explained. And you guys understand, but you can leave questions in the comments. Rose now says that only 1 person in column B has exactly 4 innocent neighbors. Oh, we also know that Rose couldn't have an innocent to her left because she's in column C and she's a criminal, so Kita has to be a criminal. But she said only 1 person in column B has exactly 4 innocent neighbors, and that's not Kita for sure, because Kita has 2 innocent neighbors. It couldn't be Vera, because Vera has only 1, we know now. Frida is gonna have 5. Barb could have 4. But Laura could have 4 if Pam is an innocent and Frida is a criminal. So are we looking at Frida ever being an innocent? Because if she is, that means that Laura couldn't have 4 innocents. So Laura has 4 now, 3 in row 2 and 1 in row 3. So Pam would have to be an innocent. Frida being a criminal, though, forces Laura to be the person in row 4 who has, or in column B, sorry, who has 4 innocent neighbors. So that would also force Pam to be an innocent. If Pam is ever a criminal, then there's no way for Frida to be an innocent, because that would make both Laura and Barb, who are in column B, have 4 innocent neighbors, and that breaks the clue. But also Frida being a criminal now makes it so that nobody... Oh, Frida is in column B. and she has 4. So both Frida and Pam have to be criminals. Oh no, Frida has 5 because she's gonna have a 5th one here shared with Laura. So my first logic was correct. Sorry. Okay. So Frida we know is gonna have a total of 5. Barb could have 4. And if she doesn't have 4, then there's no way for Laura to have 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Pam would have to be an innocent. Pam couldn't be a criminal because if Pam is a criminal, then Barb has to be the person with 4, and that makes Laura the person with 4 as well. So I'm pretty sure of that. Kita is ruled out, Vera is ruled out, so Pam has to be an innocent. Okay. Pam now says there are 8 innocents total in the whole board. Okay, so let's look at this. First of all, Vera has an odd number, so we know that Uma and Wanda are both criminals now. Let's count our innocents. We have 3 here. I mean, we have 4 in rows 1 and 2. 5 with someone in row 3. And 6 with Pam in row 4. We could have Frida be 7th. And we need an odd number of criminals in column D, which means we need at least 1 more. If we had 3 more in column D, making that an odd number, there wouldn't be enough people on the board to make 8 innocents total, because we just counted that. And without an innocent in column D, we have only 7 innocents total on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know we have to have at least 1 innocent in column D. If we have only 1 though, let's say that Zara is that innocent, we end up with 4 criminals in column D, and we know that column D has to have an odd number of criminals, so that doesn't work. We actually need 2 innocents in column D, and that gives us our total 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that doesn't count Frida, so we make Frida a criminal. She doesn't give us a new clue, but now we know the total here, and we know that Laura is a person in column B with 4 innocents neighboring her. What am I missing then? Only 1 criminal in column C is an innocent directly to the left of them. We don't need that anymore. All criminals are mostly accounted for. There's an odd number of criminals in column D. We know there has to be 2. Only 1 person in column B has 4 innocent neighbors. We just solved that. There are more innocents in row 4 than row 5. I haven't read that clue before, I don't think. So there are more innocents in row 4 than row 5. And we're talking innocents. There's 1 innocent here in row 4. And we know there has to be 2 innocents in column D. Each row, row 4 and row 5, could have an innocent. If both of them do, then there's more innocents in row 4 than row 5. If only row 5 has, though, then both of the rows have the same number of innocents, which wouldn't work. And if only row 4 has 1, then, of course, it has more than row 5. So, in any case, Sarah couldn't be a criminal, because if she is, then we have to force Zara and Olga to be innocents, making row 4 have the same number of innocents as row 5, so Sarah has to be one of the innocents. which makes Zara and Olga opposites. Now Sarah tells us there are more incense in row 3 than row 5. Oh, my camera is frozen. How does that work? Why does that work? Since when is that frozen? I don't know how long I was frozen for there, but I'm gonna continue from here and I'll deal with that later. Now, going back, there are more incense in row 3 than row 5. Oh, we don't need that anymore. So what do we need? Oh no, this is a new clue. I was looking at Uma's clue. So there are more incense in row 3 than row 5 means that we know there's one incense in row 3 here. So we end up in the same situation as row 4 and row 5. If Sarah is an incense now, she forces Olga to be a criminal, and both of those rows have the same number of incense. So Olga actually does have to be an incense, which makes Sarah a criminal. And she gives us a new clue. There are exactly 4 incense in column A, so that means we need a 4th one that has to be Katie, who's opposite with Marianne, and we are done the puzzle. Okay. The freezing camera thing is interesting. And that took me way less than I thought it was going to take. And it's funny that it took me 16 minutes and there's only 16% perfect solves. So I hope I could make it easy to understand that. I thought the logic was pretty straightforward, not really a lot of things to put together. Things that we're used to, which is very nice. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did as well. Let me know how it went for you if you want to. I'll leave you here for today. See you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. Bye bye.